This is the shocking reason why Qatar is able to economically overpower Russia. Qatar is a small but wealthy country located in the Middle East. It is situated on a peninsula in the Persian Gulf and shares its borders with Saudi Arabia to the south. As of 2021, Qatar has an estimated population of around 2.8 million people, with the majority of the population concentrated in the capital city of Doha. Despite its small size, Qatar is one of the richest countries in the world, with a high per capita income and a booming economy fueled by its abundant oil and gas reserves. According to the International Monetary Fund, Qatar has the highest GDP per capita in the world, with a nominal GDP of over $180 billion. Qatar has invested heavily in developing its infrastructure, including modern transportation systems, world-class hotels, and state-of-the-art sports facilities. The country has also been actively promoting itself as a destination for business and tourism, with its rich cultural heritage and the impressive skyline of modern architecture. In recent years, Qatar has also become a major player in global politics, hosting major international events such as the 2022 FIFA World Cup and playing a pivotal role in regional and international diplomatic efforts. Despite its relatively small size, Qatar's wealth and strategic location have made it an influential player in the Middle East and beyond. How well is Qatar's economy doing exactly? Qatar's economy has experienced significant growth over the past few decades, largely driven by its abundant oil and gas reserves. According to the World Bank, Qatar's gross domestic product, GDP, increased from $29.1 billion in 2000 to $132.8 billion in 2020, reflecting an average annual growth rate of 8.2%. The oil and gas sector remains the backbone of Qatar's economy, contributing over 50% of its GDP and more than 85% of its export earnings. The country is one of the world's largest producers of liquefied natural gas, LNG, and its natural gas reserves are among the largest in the world, estimated at around 24.7 trillion cubic meters. In 2020, Qatar produced over 173 billion cubic meters of natural gas and over 600,000 barrels of oil per day. In 2020, the Qatari government has been implementing a series of ambitious development plans, including the Qatar National Vision 2030, which aims to transform the country into a diversified, knowledge-based economy by 2030. To achieve this, the government has invested heavily in infrastructure, education, and innovation, and has sought to attract foreign investment across a range of sectors, including finance, real estate, and technology. As of 2020, Qatar's foreign direct investment, FDI, inflows reached $1.1 billion. Thanks to its strong economic performance, Qatar's citizens enjoy a high standard of living, with a GDP per capita of around $59,000 in 2020, one of the highest in the world. The country's economy has also created numerous job opportunities for both its citizens and foreign residents, with an unemployment rate of only 0.1% in 2020. Despite facing economic challenges such as a drop in oil prices and the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Qatari government has remained committed to maintaining economic stability through a range of measures, including fiscal consolidation, diversification efforts, and continued investment in key sectors. As a result, Qatar is well positioned to continue its path of economic prosperity and development in the years to come. How exactly did Qatar become a global economic superpower? Qatar's rise as a global economic superpower can be attributed to its vast oil and gas reserves, which were discovered in the mid-20th century. Here is a brief history of how Qatar became a major player in the energy industry. In 1939, oil was first discovered in Qatar by the British-owned oil company, Anglo-Persian Oil Company, now BP. However, it wasn't until the 1940s that oil production began in earnest, with the first oil shipment leaving Qatar in 1949. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, Qatar's oil industry grew steadily, and in 1961, the country joined OPEC, Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, giving it greater influence in the global oil market. In the 1970s, Qatar began to explore natural gas, which was seen as a promising alternative to oil. In 1971, a joint venture was established between the Qatari government and several international oil companies to explore gas in Qatar's North Field, the world's largest non-associated natural gas field. By the 1990s, Qatar had become a major player in the global liquefied natural gas (LNG) market, with the first LNG shipment leaving Qatar in 1996. Qatar's government-owned energy company, Qatar Petroleum, established partnerships with several international energy companies to develop its gas reserves and build LNG export facilities. In the early 2000s, Qatar embarked on an ambitious expansion of its LNG production capacity, investing billions of dollars in new gas production facilities and LNG export terminals. Qatar's LNG exports soon surpassed its oil exports, making it the world's largest LNG exporter. How does Qatar's economy compare to that of Russia? Qatar and Russia are two countries with vastly different economies, with Russia being significantly larger in terms of both geography and population. Russia is the world's largest country by land area, covering approximately 17 million square kilometers, while Qatar is a small country located on a peninsula in the Persian Gulf, with a land area of around 11,581 square kilometers. In terms of population, Russia has a population of approximately 144 million people, while Qatar's population is estimated at around 2.8 million people. Russia's economy is heavily dependent on its oil and gas sector, with oil and gas exports accounting for around 40% of its total export revenues. However, the country has been facing economic sanctions imposed by Western countries in response to its actions in Ukraine, which have had a significant impact on its economy. The sanctions have restricted access to foreign capital and technology and have resulted in a decline in oil prices and a depreciation of the Russian ruble. As a result, Russia's GDP growth has been sluggish in recent years, with an average growth rate of 1.6% between 2011 and 2020, according to the World Bank. In contrast, Qatar's economy has been thriving, driven by its abundant oil and gas reserves. Qatar is one of the world's largest producers of liquefied natural gas, LNG, and has been investing heavily in infrastructure, education, and innovation to diversify its economy. The Qatari government has also been seeking to attract foreign investment across a range of sectors, including finance, real estate, and technology, and has been implementing ambitious development plans such as the Qatar National Vision 2030. According to the World Bank, Qatar's GDP grew at an average rate of 6.1% between 2011 and 2020. What is Qatar doing to expand its wealth? One of the key drivers of Qatar's economic growth has been its rich oil and gas reserves. The country is one of the world's largest producers of liquefied natural gas, LNG, and has significant oil reserves, which have provided a strong foundation for the country's economy. However, the Qatari government recognized the need to diversify the economy and reduce reliance on oil and gas exports. To achieve this, the government has invested heavily in a range of sectors, including infrastructure, education, healthcare, and tourism. Qatar has built state-of-the-art transportation infrastructure, including the Hamad International Airport and the Qatar Rail Network. The government has also invested in education, with a focus on developing a knowledge-based economy, including establishing Education City, a campus housing branch campuses of several leading international universities. In addition to investments within Qatar, the Qatari government has also made strategic investments around the world. For example, Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, the Qatar Investment Authority, QIA, has invested billions of dollars in companies such as Volkswagen, Royal Dutch Shell, and Barclays Bank. As of 2021, the QIA was estimated to have over $300 billion in assets under management, making it one of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds. Qatar has also invested in developing a world-class sports industry, hosting several major international events such as the 2006 Asian Games, the 2011 Pan-Arab Games, and the 2022 FIFA World Cup. These events have helped to boost the country's tourism industry and raise its international profile. As a result of these efforts, Qatar's economy has become more diversified and less reliant on oil and gas exports. In 2020, non-oil and gas GDP accounted for over 55% of the country's total GDP, according to the World Bank. Qatar's GDP per capita was around $59,000 in 2020, making it one of the wealthiest countries in the world. While we cannot say that Qatar has overpowered Russia, we can say that Qatar has done so much to build a tremendous amount of wealth for itself that most of the other countries in the world can only dream of. Hopefully, other countries can borrow a page from Qatar's books.